I think that organisational design is something that's owned by really the board in many ways. I think that there is responsibility on HR to help to design out the most efficient type of organisation, but the reality of it all is that the business dictates what the organisation should look like. And I think if businesses are thinking and trying to future-proof themselves, then what happens is they create a business model for the future, and then you start to overlay an organisation design on that to try to create the most efficient and effective way of managing that business of the future. I think that in the way I've worked at that in the past, it's been about the business trying to define what its future needs are, and then it will build out the target operating model from there. A lot of organisations will use consultancies and hothouse the whole thing, so they're working with different functions to try to get an understanding of what it is that the business wants to deliver over a long period of time, and they'd hothouse sales, marketing, and then go into the support functions behind that, so that people in HR, for instance, would actually have hothouse, and at the same time they would have an understanding already of what the future state of the organisation was going to look like. And then you build the HR model or the finance model or the marketing model behind that. Transformation is driven by technology, it's driven by processes, and then that's all supported by people. So for me, it's understanding where the business again wants to go, what it wants to look like, and then having got that understanding and described where we are today, we then need to look at what the future state's going to be, and then you need to build the processes that are going to take you through to that future state. In doing that, that's when you start to identify what your people skills are for delivery of that future state organisation. And for me, it's about bringing people in that are not working to a role profile or a job description, but it's bringing people in that are flexible in their thinking, flexible in terms of their willingness to do different things, both within their functional capabilities, but more broadly as well, so they'll contribute anywhere in the organisation that is necessary. So building a team is about getting those technical competencies that you might need, but more importantly than that is getting the right behavioural competencies that sit behind, so that you can actually have people that will work to achieve the long-term business solution. It's been different challenges with different organisations. When I went to work at Camelot, the challenge there was that having won the third licence, part of the condition of the third licence was that they had to cut their operating costs by 25%. They had to prepare themselves for a minimum of 40% growth over the coming 4 years, and they had a significant investment in technology, moving from ADSL operated collection processes in the way that people buy lottery tickets through to satellite based technology, which allow faster processing of purchases, and trying to do that in a very short period of time meant that we really were up and running very quickly. And the piece of work that I did sitting behind that, which was around the build of the new organisation, I had to do in 3 months. So I had to prepare the plans, get everybody ready, work out the necessary pieces of work that needed to happen beforehand, and then implement all of that very quickly afterwards. So the whole process took us about 6 months in reality to get from the current state of licence 2 through to new state in licence 3, where we'd gone from 1,200 down to 750 people, but had invested quite significantly in new people that were being brought in to do things in different ways. And a lot of that again was investment in different behaviours of people. So it was that much more openness of the individual rather than working towards around a job description. I think that I have some sympathy for the way that the executive team is structured in terms of the executive board itself, and it tends to be the CEO, the CFO, maybe one other, but then made up of non-exec directors. I think from an HR perspective, we should be playing the next tier down, which is the operating board, because that's where we can influence most, I think. And a good HRD will not be just thinking about the HR agenda for that, but he'd be looking to try to contribute towards the broader business agenda in that. And I guess that most CEOs now will be looking for a commercial HR guy who probably will be someone that's had some experiences out in a commercial field somewhere, whether that's in sales or marketing, whether he's come out of an IT background or whatever else. But they would look for someone that has probably more business skills than lots of the HR guys have got at the moment. That's a difficult question, and I think it goes back to the question I answered earlier. I think it's about HR people going out and learning about the business, and I think that one of the first things they should do in joining any organisation is to go out and find as much as they can about it, and you tend to get that honeymoon period of the first month or so when you do get the opportunity to get out and about and get to understand what's going on, and then it's drilling down from there to understand in more detail what businesses are doing and how they're conducting their businesses and how they win, if you like, their work, whatever that work might be. If you're manufacturing based, it's how you acquire your orders. With us, it's how we acquire merchants, and then how we manage those merchants so we don't lose them to another acquiring company. So for HR people, it's about going and learning that so that you can actually contribute to the broader piece, rather than just being the person that supplies the body that goes in to do a particular job somewhere. So I guess my two questions really are: how do you create a great onboarding process that stays with the individual through his time in the organisation? And then secondly, how do you create behavioural competencies and marry those into the values of the organisation such that they become living things for each individual?